Hello! We're back once again, this time with Folktale Devblog 21. In this episode I'm going to take a look at how the sandbox player is shaping up, run through the UI overhaul filling in some of the details of gameplay mechanics, before wrapping up with a review of new assets. I've opened up a map in the sandbox player and I have a number of untrained peasants, which is typically how you would start a new game. The first thing I need to do is build a blacksmith so I can train a few miners to extract ore from this nearby iron mine. To access the building options, I click on the build icon on the top bar. This shows the building options grouped into three categories: refining, military and finished goods. You'll notice the current layout differs from the construction options in the tutorial. During development we try a number of UI iterations to arrive at the best feel. Having selected the refining category, I'll build a blacksmith. And here's where Sandbox starts to diverge. The fixed build plots of the tutorial are gone as promised, and free placement is in, providing precise control over the design of our village. We can freely move the building around, with a green transparent cube meaning we're over a valid place for construction, while a red cube means we're too close to an obstruction. As you might expect, we can also rotate buildings. You'll also notice we're adding a radius of influence, shown by the dotted circle surrounding the building. Resources need to be located within this radius to be accessible by the building. Capturing multiple mines can result in a greater maximum output for the building. Once I'm happy with the position, clicking the mouse button confirms the build order and our peasants set to work. We've had to change the way construction progress is handled from the tutorial because of the introduction of building upgrade tiers. With most buildings having 3 upgrade tiers, providing a construction phase for each tier, as well as numerous levels of detail, would have meant a heap of cosmetic assets sitting in memory that didn't add much to gameplay. It would have been lovely to have it, but we have a strict memory budget to work with, and I'd rather use that memory for actual gameplay rather than aesthetics. So from now on, buildings emerge out of the ground. With the blacksmith complete, I'll train some miners the old-fashioned way by selecting them and sending them to the blacksmith. In Sandbox, we're adding a second method via the building UI dialogue, which I'll cover later in this video. As soon as our miners are trained, they'll run off to the mine and hack away, returning with clusters of iron ore ready for smelting into iron ingots. I'll repeat the process, building a woodcutter's hut and training a number of woodcutters. As per the tutorial, they'll run off to the nearest lumber camp, chop away before carrying back logs for sawing into planks. This is all fairly simplistic, so with the reveal of the new UI design I can delve deeper into some of the mechanics. With multiple genres including village building, RTS and RPG and all the metrics that go with that, we've put a good deal of effort into condensing and optimising on-screen information to reduce UI clutter. We sat down and forecast how much time is spent in-game performing certain activities, identifying key metrics and commands required to perform each task, and making sure it all fits on screen at the minimum screen resolution. On the top bar we have the high-level stats including population and gold. In many builder games you might be used to seeing wood, stone and iron shown. However, with a significant amount of adventuring playtime, showing those metrics wouldn't be that useful. Add to that the diverse and complex economy that we have planned, and there were too many resources to show on a static top bar. So we're implementing an expand contract button so you can show those stats when you need them during city planning, and then hide them away when they aren't needed. Of course, if it's your preference to always have them visible, you can. The top bar also provides buttons to access major functions, including construction, civics and global inventory. In the top left of the screen we have the hybrid character selection UI. The first 4 slots are priority slots for heroes, and you'll only be able to take your party of heroes to other locations. The smaller slots are for larger selection groups of non-heroes. Bottom left we have a condensed special abilities radial menu. It's similar in function to the current version found in the tutorial with 3 additions. The consume potions buttons are used when you want a character to consume health and power potions direct from the global inventory. The aggressive defensive mode switches the character between charging into combat or remaining passive until attacked, and the auto AI toggle to place special abilities under the control of AI. The character sheet remains familiar with the addition of resistances. Further tabs include worker metrics such as experience, progress and overall efficiency in their current profession, and a tab where you can power up special abilities. The Buildings UI is an entirely new dialogue where you can influence much of the game's economy. The Workers tab features an overview of filled and available vacancies, with options for choosing who to recruit and fire. We're introducing traits to make some characters a natural selection for certain professions, contributing to their overall work efficiency. If you'd prefer to skip over micromanagement, the auto recruit checkbox will automatically hire candidates from the pool of available peasants. The production tab provides insight into how effective the building is. Worker productivity is calculated through a number of factors, including the combined profession experience of all workers, their tools, traits and overall happiness. Tools can be looted or crafted to provide productivity bonuses to workers, with magic tools providing significant productivity boosts that can have a big impact on a building's efficiency. Maximum output is determined by the building tier and the number of resources falling within the building's influence radius. Higher tier buildings expand the influence radius as well as supporting more workers, leading to greater maximum output potential. Inside your buildings, you'll be able to add workbench upgrades that provide stacking bonuses to maximum output potential. These three factors are used to calculate an overall actual work output, which can then be assigned to production or research. Assigning work to production will increase the output of goods, whereas assigning to research expands your pool of research points faster, which can then be spent on unlocking new technologies. We're exploring the option of allowing buildings to harvest one or more resources when new research is unlocked. So in the top right of the production dialog is a summary of the output rate of finished goods, in this case ingots. In later stages of gameplay, when actual output can be spread across multiple resource types, you might want to take copper ingot production offline, directing the work to more valuable mithril ingots, required to make higher end armours. Playing on the theme of good or tyrannical leadership, you can choose to bribe or whip your workers if you need them to work harder. Incentivising workers with a coin purse provides a temporary productivity boost without any negative side effects. Whipping generates a larger productivity boost but will lead to a decline in happiness over time, ultimately impacting longer term productivity. All production buildings can engage in research, contributing to a central pool of research points. Once you've amassed enough points, you can spend those points in any building to unlock new technologies and crafting recipes. Unlocking chainmail, for instance, would enable the crafting of a couple of chainmail armour items. Further recipes can be found in loot, requiring you to venture out with your party of heroes into the wilds. The Upgrade tab allows you to upgrade the overall tier of the building or purchase and install workbenches that provide production bonuses shown previously under the Production tab. Higher tier buildings accommodate more workers and workbenches, expand culture, grant access to new research, increase the influence radius and reduce the risk of fire. Under crafting, you'll be able to craft new items to help your villagers in their daily lives. If you play MMOs, you'll be familiar with the crafting model we're implementing, with everything from weapons and armour to potions and jewellery. We'll be adding a crafting queue so that you can place multiple orders before heading off to other tasks. You'll receive event notifications as your crafters complete items, making them available in your global inventory. One of the recurring pieces of feedback we've received from the tutorial is that finding your villagers can sometimes be tricky. To improve discoverability, we're implementing the Civics dialogue, a central view of all the activity going on in your village. Here, we're looking at the population overview. We'll be able to filter by profession if we're looking for someone in particular, sort lists by clicking on the column headers, see a summary of who needs what to remain happy, and direct links to find people, open their inventory, or demote them back to a peasant. In a similar fashion, the Buildings tab will provide an overview of all buildings and their output, and the Resources tab providing an empire-wide summary of captured resources, including those in far-off locations. Phew, well done if you're still with me. With the game mechanics explained in a little more detail, I'll sign off with a spot of eye candy. 3 new professions are now complete and ready for the next patch, including the City Watch, which was formerly the Militia, Monks and Stonecutters. The next patch, which all being well should follow next week, will also include the workshop building, visual improvements to all the existing buildings and hopefully the City Stone wall props. On behalf of all of us on the Folktale team, thanks for your continued support during early access.